Giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Oh, yeah. Friday. Good morning. Good people. It's Friday. It's A to Z Sports Live. It's the Skywalker Show. Streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. And, of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker. Still, boom. Welcome back, Cowboys Nation. It's Fan Friday. So I'm bringing back the mailbag. We got the mailbag coming up later on in the show. And y'all killed it here on YouTube. I don't even need to go anywhere else. I got all my questions straight from YouTube. Salute to y'all. Quick roundup, though, any injuries. We got 2 injuries we'll talk about. One, somebody's playing. The other, somebody's not. I had to kind of chill a little bit when I found out about the other guy. I'll tell you more in the roundup. Plus, tomorrow, we open up the preseason. The Cowboys preseason starts tomorrow against the Jacksonville Jaguars here at AT&T Stadium. Anybody going? If anybody's going to that game, I won't be there, but, you know, it'd be kind of cool just to know if anybody's heading out there. I will be attending the last preseason game at AT&T Stadium, just not this one. I'll be traveling this week. And yesterday was the final practice before the game 1 opening preseason game for the Cowboys. And we'll touch on some practice notes as well. And we'll get some calls in. You can go ahead and call in 351-999-3787 is the call-in line. And we'll hear from you. We ain't gonna get too many calls. It's a Friday show. Not quite rolling out the TV today, but the Cowboys are off. So we're gonna chill a little bit today as we prep for tomorrow. And when I say prep, I mean Cowboys fans, because you know we've been dying for some Cowboys football where they're hitting somebody else since January, and we'll get that tomorrow. So it shouldn't be a fairly long show, but you can call in. Bomb Squad was good.
Bomb Squad.
Watched a little bit of preseason yesterday. Once again, not diving in all the way to the fourth quarter. However, and I put this on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at Skywalker Still. I saw Antonio Mafi out there, and he wasn't perfect, you know, but I'm just sitting there like, damn, what could have been, you know? And I wasn't even trying to be greedy. I wasn't like, oh, hey, go get Mafi in the first and second round. Mafi was there in the 5th, you know, and he's just out there just doing Mafi things. I saw him throw some guys around, ragdoll some guys. I saw him get beat a few times too, but damn, it sure would have felt good to have a guy like that with what's going on with the Cowboys offensive line. And let's really honestly get right into that in the roundup and talk about an injury that they suffer here. And let's do it.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time! It is time for...
It's time for the Morning Roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Let me talk to you.
Before I talk to you about that, Mazi Smith, this is the good news. This is the good news here. Mazi Smith said to the media that he will be debuting tomorrow. He got the MRI a couple days ago. A little scared, nothing crazy, right? But it was a precautionary MRI, so it wasn't like something happened and they had to go get an MRI. He deals with, I think it's tendonitis. So he deals with tendonitis. So that happens. It's nothing that will keep you out. It's just more of an annoyance that you'll probably deal with for the rest of your life. So they went and checked it out. Came back clean. He came back to practice yesterday. He was out there doing Mazi Smith things. Some rookie situations happen too, but he'll be playing tomorrow. So my eyes will definitely be on Mazi Smith. As for Luke Schoonmaker, I have no idea if he's going to play tomorrow. He practiced yesterday. He got more work in yesterday. But again, we're talking about 2 padded practices the entire offseason. So is that enough to get him out there tomorrow? Maybe, maybe not. They'll probably have some type of presser or media scrum where they'll ask him, Coach McCarthy, those questions. But if not, I'm cool. Don't want to rush him. He's dealing with an injury that can linger. So at least he has to at least get the second game in, and definitely the third game, if he's going to be counted on to be your tight end too. Because I don't think he has enough time to take that tight end 1 spot from the tight end 1 on the team right now, and that's Jake Ferguson. If y'all missed these sounds from the sideline, man, Jake, I think y'all got Jake messed up. That's what I'm saying. I think some people got Jake messed up. But anyway, Jake Ferguson and Peyton Hendershot on sides of the sideline was funny from practice. Let's get to that O-line. Chuma Edoga went down yesterday, and as per Michael Gelkin, he suffered a hyperextended knee. Damn, that's crazy. But I do hope he's okay. In all seriousness, it's just a hyperextended knee, so it shouldn't be anything too wild. However, from a body standpoint, the Cowboys lost some depth from a body standpoint. I ain't saying, he's going to start or he's even the second guy in line. However, he's been playing left tackle a lot. He's been kind of your swing or your backup left tackle, which is kind of wild because he's been terrible over there. But that's what he's been. Look, man, he has not had a good camp. He hasn't been good. So I'm looking to do something. I'm looking to address this, and I'll save that. I'll put a pin in that because that's a question in the mailbag. But this will give a chance for young guys, the Awesome Richards of the world, Brock Hoffman of the world. So, we'll see what happens tomorrow. I don't think he's going to play. I truly don't, especially since they had like a cart that came out for him for his hyperextended knee. I'm not saying he's a priority free agent. He signed a 1-year deal, but I don't think they're going to just throw him out there a day or 2 days after he was carted off the field. So I wonder who gets that spot over there, because if I'm not mistaken, Edoga is the first or was the first left tackle up. So will we see some other young guys? Will we see Eric Bostic? Is it Bostic? Is he still on this roster? Heard nothing about him. Earl Bostic. I'm sorry, not Eric. Earl Bostic. Will we see Matt Walesko slide over to left tackle? Will they? I don't think they're going to put Tyler out there. I think they want to get Tyler Smith as many left guard reps as possibly can. They're not going to move Josh Ball over there. I can tell you that much. It's time to pick up that phone. We'll talk about it a little bit later. That's the roundup for this morning. And again, I almost went right into. There we go. Almost went right into some of the questions that we had in the mailbag segment, but we'll do that a little bit later. I kind of want to jump right into these practice points because there are some guys or some notes here that yesterday when we were doing our segment on some of the guys that were quiet or, hey, we just got to see something from in the preseason. The very first note, if we go look here, Cowboys Nation, is about Hunter Lipke. Hunter Lipke was one of those guys. We talked about, hey, he's I'm not saying he's quiet because we've seen him out there, right? He's done things. He's taken handoffs. He's caught balls out there. But it's the 4 running backs that were making the loudest noise. And this is what Nick Harris said about Hunter Lipke, who Coach McCarthy brought up yesterday, by the way. But he says rookie running back / fullback Hunter Lipke had a lot of intrigue coming into training camp with the extensive resume at North Dakota State. And while he hasn't popped quite yet, Thursday was his strongest day in Oxnard. Getting a healthy amount of carries ahead of his preseason debut, Lipke found holes, bounced off of would-be tacklers, and found some presence downfield. With all eyes on the running back position going into Saturday, it will be important for Lipke to carry that consistency on to the game field. If you guys didn't get a chance to check out Coach McCarthy's interview, he does bring up Lipke, and he talks about running between the tackles and running downhill. McCarthy brought up one of the questions was, what do you look for in guys behind Tony Pollard? Do you look for him to be is similar to Tony Pollard, different from Tony Pollard. And he had a great answer. He was talking about how he wants guys to be dynamic, with the ball in their hands, but he also understands you have to run between the tackles and run downhill. Not everything is going to be outside. And that's where he kind of gave Hunter Lipke some props in some of those single back formations they were doing. So again, Lipke is one of those guys that if he goes berserk, now we can have that conversation, I think. But if he has a solid preseason, I feel like he can sneak on his practice squad and they'll figure that out. But it'll all come down to whether they want to carry three true backs or 4 halfbacks, as opposed to 3 halfbacks and a fullback. But I think he's going to get every opportunity to make the squad. One more undrafted guy before nobody's on the line. Okay, we'll talk about all these things. Another undrafted free agent addition in the form of tight end John Stevens Jr. Balled out once again today as he was effective in the red zone, receiving, and even showed his improving blocking ability. I think McCarthy also brought that up. Of all the UDFAs, I'm looking forward to seeing Stevens the most during the preseason after a strong start in training camp. Also coming from Nick Harris. Coming into camp and then right at the start of camp, Jalen Moreno-Cropper was my undrafted free agent I wanted to see in the preseason the most. John Stevens has definitely taken that mantle over the last week and some change, where I'm very intrigued to see if this cat can carry over his training camp success against other guys. We talked about this yesterday, where you just never really got a chance to see these receivers, right? You never saw the receivers get a lot going in preseason. The tight ends you did. You saw Jake Ferguson making plays in preseason. Peyton Hendershot catching some balls last year in preseason as well. He had a touchdown against the Seattle Seahawks, I believe. Jake had a couple highlight plays, jumping over dudes with the Chargers. Steven, I think he'll continue that. I think you'll see some highlight plays from him, and he's going to make it tough. He's probably going to make it tough on these guys, and that's good. You want that to be, because you want Hendershot, and you want McEwen and these guys to step up. I think Ferguson, and obviously Schoonmaker, that's not an issue. Hendershot's probably not an issue either. But if I'm looking at a guy who do the same things as Stevens Jr., it's Hendershot. And then we got CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb went off yesterday, Cowboys Nation. CeeDee Lamb did some more CeeDee Lamb things on Thursday. This comes from Kyle Yeomans, making contested catches in both 7-on-7 and red zone work against first-team competition. One of his best catches of the day came when he skied over Deron Bland for a touchdown grab from Dak Prescott. Another came over the middle of the field when he was blanketed by Stephon Gilmore for a first down grab. CeeDee is starting to be, another 88 out at training camp. Dez Bryant used to just dominate training camp. I mean, not just with highlight plays, but, you can't guard me. You can't guard me. You can't guard me. You. None of y'all can guard me. That's CeeDee Lamb right now, man. That's CeeDee Lamb right now. And him and Dak Prescott continue to just pick up kind of where they left off. Like, I hate, this sounds crazy, but it feels this way. It feels like Dak and CeeDee Lamb are one of the most underrated wide receiver quarterback duos. How that's possible is beyond me. When you have a top 10 quarterback and a top 10 wide receiver, how the hell can you be underrated, right? Like, what are you talking about, Sky? But when you see, and again, I ain't trying to do lists or anything like that, but when you look around the interwebs and listen to people, you hardly hear this duo mentioned, but bruh, they were crazy last year. When he got back, they went crazy. And they're just picking that up. And I don't think it's going to take a downtrend here. I think they're going to continue to rise in those ranks, man. You're talking about an offense that features the playmakers and makes it easier for the playmakers, which obviously is going to make it easier on the quarterback. So CeeDee Lamb just continues to dominate camp, man. He is the unquestioned wide receiver one and unquestioned top 10 receiver. And I think by the end of the year, it will be unquestioned top 5. I do. I truly believe that. His production, his first 3 years in the league is wild to me that it kind of goes by the wayside. But, and he even said it. He said, and I ain't even had Dak for a full season for real. Just know that when they asked him about his production. So we'll see more from CeeDee Lamb this year, man. I foresee another Pro Bowl year, not fan vote Pro Bowl, like legitimate Pro Bowl year and all pro year if he gets the targets. 2 more notes. Speaking of receivers, it's been a camp that's had its up and downs for Semi. Let me come back here. There we go. That's had its up and downs for Semi, but he's had more ups than downs. On Thursday in the final padded practice that precedes the preseason matchup against Jaguars, Fayoko had another good showing that included helping Dak on the scramble by breaking off his route and then not only catching the pylon throw, but also tapping both feet down to ensure it was complete. And Semi gonna need him. Semi gonna need all these reps, stacking good days, right? All of it, because Jalen Brooks is here. He ain't going nowhere. I mean, unless Jalen Brooks, knock on wood, God forbid, something happens, right? From an injury standpoint. But I don't see why Jalen Brooks wouldn't carry that over in the preseason. Now, Semi, opposite of the other guys, the receivers over the last 2 years, he's usually stood out in the preseason. He's had some good touchdown catches. In fact, I think he has the most preseason touchdowns over the last few years. But he's got way more competition now. Way more competition. And if he doesn't go nuclear, go berserk, go whatever in preseason, it was a point in time I thought maybe they'd carry 7. But the more and more you look at the 53-man roster, you're like, I don't know that I'm willing to take away from a different spot to carry 7 wide receivers, especially if I'm going deep at running back where all of them are going to play special teams, right? Because that's important. Wide receiver 5 and 6, probably 4, have to play special team, 4, 5, and 6. And 7's likely just a special teams guy. The beauty of the top 6 is that after the top 3, and we're going off of right now, after the top 3, I think you got Turpin, you got Tolbert, and you got Brooks. They all can provide special teams help. Maybe Tolbert ain't going to go crazy on special teams, but he's going to play it, right? Turpin is obviously the returner, and Jalen Brooks is going to do those dirty work special team things. But they also can provide things on offense. Jalen Tolbert's taking the next step from an offensive standpoint. Maybe we'll see if anything happens at the receiver position, we'll see a Ced Wilson situation where I think it was 2019, Ced kind of stepped in and showed up, made a few plays. And then in 2019 or 2021 or 2021, he really had to step up and he put together a career year. So maybe we can see that from Tolbert if he needs to step in there. Turpin is showing he can do some slot things. Jalen Brooks is being Jalen Brooks. So it's going to be imperative for Fayoko to show out and starting tomorrow. I don't think he can wait. I think he has to come out there tomorrow and ball, or he could be off this roster. And then the final note from .com, shout out to .com. There's a lot to be said for just how deep the defensive line is in Dallas, but with so many standouts making plays on a daily basis, not enough has been said about just how good Osa has been. He's had another impact day on Thursday, which included a would-be sack on Dak Prescott. I don't want to sound like a broken record with Osa because I said last year I think it'd be his breakout year. Technically, he improved last year. But this year, I think they'll do less stunting with him, thus allowing him to kind of get upfield a little bit more or be able to wrestle, right? Because he was from wrestle with those guards and centers and be impactful in the backfield. So I can easily see Osa, who had, 4 sacks his rookie year, 5 last year. Was it 5? Somewhere around there. Easily can see 6 or 7, in year 3. Like that type of trajectory for Osa Odigizua. And if your run defense is keeping them at bay, and now we're getting to 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, even more ability for him to get more sacks. So I see a breakout year for Osa, man. I truly do. I'm 7 sacks. I can see it. I can see 6, 7 sacks for easy. How many did he have last year? 5? I think he had 5 last year. I think he can get 6 or 7. I can get 2 more. And I'm not saying completely eliminate the sacks, or I'm sorry, the games up front, the stunts, the ET stunts. I'm not saying no, they ain't gotta eliminate it, but they gotta chill. I don't think there's going to be a need to do it. as much because you got so many damn good rushers. You got Sam, who doesn't need to stunt all the time. Michael Parsons, D-Law, Dante Fowler. Like, that helps, right? It gets guys free. But when you got big boys now, like like Bohanna, who is probably your third guy, he might not make the roster depending on where they want to go. But when you got guys like Mozzie, you got guys like Hankins who can push that pocket, there's just no need to keep stunting as much as we did last year. If that's the case, I think Osa can get upfield a lot better. So those are some of the practice notes that came out of .com yesterday. Kyle also has some. Wanted to roll with these just because it was a mix of different people. And it was a good practice yesterday. It seemed like it was a spirited practice. These guys understood that tomorrow, at least some of the veterans, we're not going to get game time. The Dax, the Jalen's, the Gilmores, Diggs, Cooks, these guys ain't playing. But these young boys is, right? So Eric Scott Jr. and Nashawn Wright, I think that was in here too, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, they talked about how Nashawn and Eric Scott had plenty of reps during the final ramp up for preseason. They should both see the field significantly. Wright had a batted pass yesterday, and then Jalen Brooks actually got Eric Scott. Again, he just, every day, this kid, Jalen Brooks, just keep stepping up, man. Just keep stepping up. All right, Cowboys Nation, we're going to turn the page, jump into this mailbag. If you want to call in again, it's probably going to be a short, sweet, simple show. It's Friday. We ain't going to keep you all too long. 351-999-3787 is a calling line. But let's hit this mailbag right quick. I have some good questions I want to get to.
It's time! It's time. It is time for
Mail time.
The mail's here.
You've got mail.
Shout out to the YouTube fam. I didn't have to go nowhere else for these questions. I want to start off with Tony Snow 88. He said, how do you think the line will match up against the NFC this year in its current state? I'm imagining you're talking about the offensive line. And then he says, can the defense really make it easy for them? So that second part, I'm not really sure what you mean. You mean like, can it make it easy for them by putting them in position to, I'm not really sure there what you mean by that one, but let's just go with the first one here. How do you think the line will match up against the NFC this year? I will say this. The NFC East alone is going to be a challenge for this offensive line, into the depth, I should say. But honestly, no, the starters, let's be real, man. You got the Eagles, who have a phenomenal defensive line up and down. The Giants, who have a really good defensive line as well. I mean, we're talking about two Pro Bowlers up there on the tackle position. And then Washington, we know Washington, they got like 5 first-round picks. So your division alone is going to be tough. It's not going to be easy. You could argue you won't have an advantage in any of those games from an offensive line versus defensive line standpoint. Honestly, you could argue that. That doesn't mean we don't believe in Zach Martin and Tyler Biadasz and Terrence and those boys. It's just that those defensive lines are so damn good. It's a wash at the very best. So how does it match up? I mean, it's going to be tough. And I wouldn't want it any other way, because by the time you get to the playoffs, you're not going to be playing some soft defensive lines in the league. So I think it'll be tough. Don't know when Zach Martin's showing up, but Rudy Morales says, if the offensive line performs poorly in the upcoming preseason game, do you think they will bring a free agent in soon? And if so, who? Rudy, I don't even think they need to wait for the preseason, right, Rudy? But yes, I do think they will bring in a free agent. We are past the date of the latest free agent signing they've made in the offseason. We haven't made one yet. And I'm not saying I'm nervous or anything like that just yet, but I'm a little bit surprised. You know, I think this team is a lot closer than it's ever been in reality. But it's that part. It's the depth of the offensive line that worries me. And if it was a position that hadn't shown injuries over the last 3 or 4 seasons, maybe I wouldn't look at it that way. But the problem is, you've got a history, right, of this offensive line showing that they get banged up and they miss games. You got a history of a certain tackle on that team that gets hurt and misses a ton of games. You got a right guard right now who's not there. And he's continued to show his worth every day. So, yeah, I would definitely dip my toes into free agency. I mean, you're talking about a Dalton Reisner type. I'd bring him in. And the problem is, it's not just guards. I don't even know if I'm feeling good about Fournette as a backup center just yet. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. And hell, tackles. Well, Let's Go feels like at right tackle, he should be fine. I can't really, I've seen reps and I'm like, cool. But I'm not seeing every rep, right? We'll get game film probably Sunday. So we'll have something to talk about from a film standpoint. But yeah, I definitely think they should dip their toes in it, man. 100%. Without a shadow of a doubt. Let's see. Zotan. He said, if you could sign good depth at either swing or guard, which would you choose? Swing? Shit, damn, that's a good question. Let me see here. Put it this way. I believe more in Let's Go than the guards. So if I could only do one, probably guard. But damn, you said good depth though. So I can guarantee I get good depth at swing. Knowing the situation with Tyron Smith, that's tough. What y'all think? Cowboys Nation. If you could only sign, I'm gonna say only. I'm even go further with this question. If you can only sign good depth at either swing or guard, you can't have them both. Which would you choose? I have a question. I'm gonna still say swing. Because Tyron Smith is probably going to miss games. And if Tyron Smith missed games, that means you're probably kicking. But see, you can kick out Tyler, and then that's where your guard depth comes in. But you can just keep Tyler at guard. And you put that good. Yeah, I'm going to go swing. Tackle's more important, right? That's the premium position. I'm going to go swing. And that's not an easy question. Because you can, like, if you sign a guard, you can just kick Tyler out there. And then boom, your guard steps in. Hell of a question. I like it though. Jeffrey dropped one, said, okay, that's the grass. I'm sorry, Jeffrey. I don't really care about natural grass. Not even a question. Jose, how different do you think Dak will look now that we have a competent play caller in Mike and have actual weapons other than CeeDee Lamb? So look no further than the year before. That's what bugs me. And again, I'm not trying to talk about national media or whatnot, but again, you get on Twitter, people tag you in things, you see these things come across your timeline, and a certain show said that, Dak's best year was his rookie year, and I'm just sitting here like, Jesus, like what? Why does everyone revert to his rookie season? Because he only threw 4 picks. Cowboys Nation, do we have like bad memory? Because I know for a fact there were many of y'all and many of national media saying, kudos, Dak, on your rookie season, but you're going to have to do more than that. You can't survive like that. You got to be able to pass the ball more. You got to become a better thrower of the football. Have we forgotten this man threw 37 touchdowns and 10 interceptions just a season removed? But somehow, some way, the rookie year was better. He was so much better in 2020. It's not even close. But y'all wanted him to go back and be a rookie. The same rookie y'all complained about that couldn't throw the ball like that. It's just getting out of hand. But nonetheless, man, if you want to know what he's going to look like with a competent play caller, or with weapons, I should say, the competent play caller part, I'm not going to go that far on Kellen. He just needed to be a better play caller. But 2021, man, 2021, he had weapons, right? One out there, broke the franchise record for touchdowns, 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. I would 100% take that. Now, what I would want to add on top of that is to finish. I'm going to keep on saying it, is to finish these games especially in the playoffs. So can we stop this as if his rookie season he was a better quarterback then than he was now? It's ridiculous. Nobody else do they say that about. Oh man, they first said if they was their rookie self. These quarterbacks are better quarterbacks the more they play if you are a good one, and he's a good one. So I thought that was goofy when I saw that on the national media. I didn't watch the show, saw the clip, and I'm like, good Lord, we just keep on. And then there was another one. I don't want to do this. There was another one though that said, oh man, there's only 2 teams that would trade for Dak Prescott. Marcus, come on, man. Save me, Marcus, before I get pissed off on that one, bro. It's getting out of hand. They said 2 teams.
2 teams. Well,
They said 2 teams.
They must not have been talking about this league. They must have been talking about his fantasy.
To make
How you
matters
doing
worse,
this morning,
bro,
Scott?
I'm
Yo,
good.
yo.
To make matters worse, these fools said, hey, eliminate the contract, right? Eliminate all the money. Just flat out, how many teams will swap the quarterback? This fool said 2. How do they got national shows, man? Put me on these damn shows. If we gonna say nonsense and get national looks.
Hey,
crazy,
man. Hey, people in that crash TV, man. People want to see a wreck. People don't want to. You don't turn on no TV to watch no green pasture, man. You want to see smoke and burning buildings. You want to see towering inferno.
That's fair. It's the old saying, right? Like you can't turn away from a car accident or a train. Like you're watching it. You know what I'm saying? You look, people driving on people driving on the highway. The reason why there's traffic is not the accident. It's because people watching the aftermath on the side, right? So yeah.
That's all it is. But hey, look, most of that I've come to realize Dak is not supposed to be as good as he is, and that's the largest thing about that. It's why he gets compared in what he quote unquote hasn't done with other people that probably in a lot of ways haven't done as much as he has. He's not supposed to be as good as he is, and that irks people. And again, it doesn't help that he's got that star on his helmet. But that's neither here nor there. Yeah. That's neither here nor there. I was going to call, man. Again, happy Friday to you, Sky. I was going to call, man, and say I hope that that CeeDee and Dak get that kind of connection that Dez and Romo had, and that Aikman and Troy had. I mean, Troy and Michael had. Where they would, when things went to aid in that finishing that you're talking about. That they know, hey, look, sometimes, man, we just. That just ain't look Dak. I'm going to UCD, and just say that's where we're going, and this is what we're gonna do. But you might need to do some of that sometime, even with the improvement in the play calling again. But also, I was going to ask about with the play calling, man. Do you think that what we've seen from all the UDFAs and from everybody else, performance, particularly on the offensive side, how much of that do you think has to do with Brian Schottenheimer and the offense and the continuity that they have now in the ease with which people are being able to pick up things? How much of that do you attribute to Schottenheimer? Because we haven't gushed like this about this many guys at camp in a while, I think.
Yeah, I do think the scheme, and then we kind of brought this up immediately, right? When Kellen was gone and Mike was dubbed the guy that's going to be running the offense, we said, well, West Coast principles, they definitely are going to help these wide receivers because there'll be less option routes and whatnot. In regards to like tight ends like John Stevens, that's honestly a hat tip to Lunda Wells. Lunda Wells has developed some good tight ends over his time in New York and now here in Dallas. So I got to give him a ton of credit for the development of Peyton Hendershot, Jake Ferguson. We're seeing John Stevens, who is making that transition from, or who has made that transition from wide receiver to tight end now. That's not an easy thing to do straight out of college and start to impress right away. But yeah, I think the scheme definitely between McCarthy and Shotty, I think that helps. You hear all the receivers. You heard every single last one of them say, "Hey man, we can play faster. I don't gotta think. I'm more comfortable. I'm boom, 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 boom." Everything that they're saying is, I don't know if indictment is the word, Marcus, but it kind of is. Yeah. It kind of is an indictment on what they were doing in previous years. And in previous years, we had a ton of young guys not named Amari Cooper. So Coop it was nothing to Coop. Coop is a cerebral player, where some of these guys are lots of talent, and they have to just be in a system long enough to kind of get it down pat. You start to see CeeDee Lamb getting it, but you even saw him in the midst of getting it screw up a bunch because it was a system that was taxing mentally on these receivers. This one is far from it. So that's a good point. I mean, I do think that McCarthy, Shoddy, and the system are aiding in the development and the progress and the production from camp, as much production as you can see, that we're seeing from these young guys. Right.
And I guess what I can expect now is, even though it's preseason and things are going to be what they are in preseason, I guess I'm going to be interested in. We really not going to know probably for a couple of games yet, because it's just going to depend on how much playing time the ones get during preseason, which I imagine wouldn't be much. Not much, but I just want to see how consistent they look, from quarter to quarter and game to game. Even though there's going to be guys going to be in and out.
Don't do it to yourself. Don't. Let me say this. And Pat Walker go ahead. Said this, and let me see if I can find it, bro. Seriously, because this is what's going to happen. People are going to be looking for all these nuances, and bro, they are not about to show y'all they game plan. They're about to go out here and run the basic offense. That's what they're going to go out here and do. When you're watching these preseason games, please do not watch these preseason games looking to come out of here with some aha moments. You need to be watching these preseason games looking for individual progression. How is the route running with Jalen Tober? How comfortable does he look with this? What's going on with Turpin? Is he doing his thing in that slot? He's securing the ball. A lot of it's going to be watching this offensive line for me. A whole lot of that. Defensively,
no doubt.
Just are you tackling well? Are you breaking on the ball? Like you're not about to see these dudes roll out week one game plan. So if you're waiting for it, you're gonna be pissed off talking about some. Man, how come we only ran 6 plays? It's preseason, fam. We're not about to run any crazy plays, any crazy schemes. They might work on 1 or 2 things that they got variations off of, but they're not about to do anything crazy out here, brother. It's about evaluating the individual players, I think.
I got you. Thank you again for your sage advice. So I won't. I won't throw nothing at my television set.
Oh boy, you're gonna be pissed off if you're looking for him. Hey man, where's that triple, double, quadruple, reverse fake play?
Yeah, man, this looks like last year, man. What you doing? What you doing?
Yeah.
Okay, boss. Well, that's all I had, man, Sky. Hey, thank you for taking my call, man. I am so excited. Did I get the start time right? Is that going to be a 5 p.m. start for that game?
I believe I thought it was 2 Central. I don't know where you at in the country, but I believe it was 2 Central.
2 Central?
Yeah, I gotta pull it up. Right.
Ooh, okay.
Oh no, they moved it.
They moved it?
Yeah, it was 2. It's 4 now.
That's good.
So 5. Okay. So it'll be 5 your way. Okay.
Okay. No, I got you then. I tune in. I tune in, man. Hey, go ahead and do your thing, Sky. I'll talk to you next time, brother.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Yeah. When did they move this thing? Because it was definitely 2 Central. I know because I got things I'm doing that day. But apparently it's 4 Central now, 5 Eastern, whatever. We'll be watching, right? But I'm trying to find this. I'm trying to find this tweet. Pappy tweet, man. Good Lord. Because he said it. Here we go. He says, reminder. Pull this up. Reminder. In no world will the Cowboys go deep into their playbook in the preseason. And no, you wanting to be entertained with the back 2/3 of the playbook to impress your neighbor is not more important than hiding it from the Giants. You'll live, champ. #enjoy. It ain't happening. You won't see the Cowboys go deep into their playbook, y'all. So I've learned this a long time ago. I'm not really watching for that. I'm watching to see these young guys who can make plays in these adverse situations, because right off the bat, it's tough. You're not out there with starters. You're out there with backups. Some teams are playing some of their starters. You saw it with C.J. Stroud right away. Pass number 3. He backed up. Jalen Mills is a starter. And he's like, oh, this is easy pickings. You know what I'm saying? So it's adverse situations right off the back. Who can make these plays in those moments? Because once you get out there with the starters and there's game plans, now you got something you can go back on and say, hey, man, I saw him make that grab in traffic. I saw him make that hit, make those tackles. I saw him block it up clean all game or whatnot, or saw him recover. But from an overall win, loss, or, they just dominated the first quarter, second quarter, bro, you're going to be upset. It's preseason. It's going to be ugly. So prepare yourself. Deshaun, what's goody?
Nothing much. I'm just chilling. So, me personally, when I'm kind of looking for, from the preseason game, not really offensively, but defensively. So, I'm looking to see how they adjust, the run. Will they clog up the holes? How – really, Mozzie. I'm paying attention to Mozzie.
Okay.
More importantly, I want to see if he's dominant against, because I know he's probably going to play for his sport. I want to see if he's dominant against the Jaguars, or is he having kind of that hard time? Because you got to remember, it's different playing our offensive line compared to playing to other different offensive lines. So I feel like if we have a dominating run defense, it kind of forces them to get the offense. Then I can kind of see what you have out there.
Don't do it to yourself. Don't do it. So if you want to watch Mozzie Smith individually, that's fine. Mm-hmm. If you're looking at how dominant the run defense is in total, don't do it. And I'm about to tell you why. Last year, we got fooled. The Cowboys had a good run defense in preseason. We were talking about it. Mm-hmm. Deshaun, what happened during the regular season? Rate those first 4 to 6 games. What happened, Deshaun, to the run defense?
They got, oh my God.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They got worse. So,
screw the overall stats when it comes to that and just individually focus on Mozzie. Is Mozzie beating his guys? He causing traffic in the back, because he can't control if the other defensive tackle is not tackling or crashing down. He can't control if the linebacker's not making the tackle or filling his gap or lane. He can't control if the safety's not getting it done. But is Mozzie doing what he got to do? But if you're looking for overall, if we dominating on the run defense, even if we are, take it with a grain of salt, bro. Take it with a grain of salt. We won't really know until the regular season when he out there with the Hankins of the worlds and Micahs and whatnot, because we got food last year.
And then I guess a couple more things. The kicking situation, I'm definitely paying attention to see how, pretty much to see accuracy, then getting his confidence in. If he missed more than 2 or 3, he might be up out of there. Just let you know that right now.
Yeah, and it sounded like they're going to give him opportunities too. They're, again, you don't purposefully, want to throw incompletes or give up, but they might be in a situation where it's 3rd and 17, we're at the 32-yard line. Let's just go ahead and run this rock and see if we can get our kicker some work.
Mm-hmm. And then the receiver. Did you watch the game in Houston?
Tank Dell?
Yep, Tank Dell.
Yeah.
That speed. Oh, my God. That's what I'm looking for from, all right, I guess our Turpin and from the other receivers. This will kind of make an impact play to make something where you're having, I don't need him catching between the legs or anything, but to be able to just find separation in between to show, individually, I'm spotting people individually. I'm not doing collectively now, so I can take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I said this yesterday. These wide receivers last year, the most yards overall was 44 yards. I need somebody to do that in one game. That's what I mean by individually. Just can you individually do your thing? So I'm looking for one of those guys to have some breakout games.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yes, sir. Did Eastside Harold make a second troll account? Yo, how pathetic. Bro, if you a Cowboy fan, just say that. I do not get it, bro. Hey, I appreciate the views. I appreciate the engagement you're giving us here. I just happened to look over. I'm like, why is Eastside's name? Why do people keep saying Eastside Harold? This dude was gone out of here. He bike with a second troll account. Yo, that's crazy. And I hope it's somebody else for his sake, because it's not that real to make two accounts. Although there's some crazy people that do that. Just to be in Cowboys. I hope that. Please tell me that, Knicks. Please tell me that. Please tell me that ain't no damn East Side Herald, dog. Damn. That's sad, bro. What's up, B-Bird?
Ain't that much, guy. I kind of listened to another show and somebody else made that say, man, that East Side, I think it was Boss Show. You got a different account or whatever. And so I think you're right. That is him.
Oh, man.
But if this was a relationship, man, that dude, that would be arrested for stalking a long time ago, man. He won't leave us alone. For real.
Yeah, man. Look, it's interesting.
That's crazy.
That's wild. You know, he on his Kevin Durant right now.
And I've been living with this for a while. I live in the Houston area, man. Their obsession with the Cowboys is just crazy. You're not even in the same division, not even in the same conference.
Bro.
You know what I'm saying? It's just an obsession, man. It's just like
you're the Texans.
One guy told me, he said, man, I actually enjoy a Cowboys loss than I do a Texan win. And that was a Texan fan. And if I ever get to that point, man, I'm done with sports. Where I take more enjoyment when another team loses than my team wins.
That's
so
facts.
It's crazy.
Hey, man,
it's crazy, man.
If I get my high off of other teams losing or trolling other teams as opposed to the success of my squads, you're right. I'm done with sports. I'm done with it.
It is crazy, man, and that's why I go in on East Side whenever I'm on there, because I'm familiar with the Houston versus Dallas Cowboy thing. So, man, I had a question for you, Scott. That was,
what's up?
Just kind of interesting, because I was listening to a report about John Stevens Jr. I guess this is wide receiver that we picked up. I think we converted him to a tight end.
Yes.
And one of the reporters said that I don't know if you heard that report. Now, I'm just catching this onto the show. I wasn't able to listen earlier. And he said that if the performance that John Stevens Jr. was having, and his name was Schoolmaker, he said we'd be going crazy, because they said he's catching everything in practice. The question I would have to ask you is this: is there ever a time where you feel like, as an organization, that, hey man, we developed this position pretty well. Let's not draft it high. We can draft it low and develop. We have an eye for this position. I think tight end is that position. Because before the draft, man, me and you were like, man, we good with Jake Ferguson and Peyton Hendershot. I love those new guys. And so let's not even invest in a tight end early, but then they went and got, a 25-year-old injured Schoolmaker. But then I tried to say, okay, these guys are professionals. They know what they're doing. But then now you start getting you start developing this John Stevens Jr. and, Jake Ferguson is probably going to be our starter. But is ever an opportunity for you to say, hey, man, we can develop this position where everybody else has to draft it high. We have an eye for this position, and we have, when we get these people in, we can develop them at a fourth, fifth round, sixth round, or undrafted free agency, and we're good. We don't have to invest high draft in that. I don't know if that's a thought process that people have, and I just want to run that by you, man. I'm going to listen off air.
I appreciate the call, B-Bird. Always thought-provoking questions. Yeah. I brought up earlier Lunda Wells. We're right. Me and you and a lot of us were like, I'm good at tight end, at least in the first day or two. I didn't see the need to take a tight end in the first day or two. It is what it is. They took one. We hope Schoolmaker pans out. But Lunda Wells deserves credit. He truly deserves credit for developing these guys. And we can go back even further than Lunda. Before he got here, look, we can say we want to say about Dalton Schultz, but Dalton Schultz proved to be a competent tight end for you. He wasn't a playmaker artist, one of the best in the league or whatever, but he was good enough, right? Like, he developed from a 4th round pick. You know who else did as well? Blake Jarwin. Blake Jarwin doesn't get hurt. If he doesn't have injury issues, Blake Jarwin is your receiving tight end, and he developed as well. So if you go back, Blake Jarwin, Dalton Schultz, right? Jake Ferguson, Peyton Hendershot, it's like, y'all, trust your process. You've developed tight ends that have been productive in this league. If you say, well, we want to go above productive tight ends, we want to get one of them ones. Schoolmaker ain't one of them ones. Yeah. I think Schoonmaker will be right on par with what we've seen. And if that's the case, 62 receptions, 700 yards, 5 touchdowns, right? You get 52 receptions, 700 yards, 4 that's fine. That's fine. But he is a 2nd round pick. Y'all know how I feel. If I'm going to use a premium on that position offensively, you better be a feature. Do y'all see him being a feature in the next 2 years? Tony Pollard. We'll see what happens in running back after that. Not this year, that's for sure. CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Brandon Cooks. Man, at best, that dude's about the 4th or 5th option if he's tight end 1, which he's not. So think about what he is now as a tight end 2. But I ain't trying to rain on a parade there. I ain't trying to rain on it. But I'm with you, B. Bird. I think they should have trusted their development. They develop guys very well. And you just hope that they continue that with Luke Schoonmaker. $945. What it is, what it do? What's good? What is?
Man, this real Bishop Kane, man. I be calling in on other shows. This my first time calling on this one, but I just be listening though.
Appreciate you, Bishop. I think I do remember you on hearing your voice elsewhere. Appreciate you calling in.
For sure, we be chopping it up on Bot Show, but yeah, man. I really was finna say first, but to your point earlier, you made a point earlier when somebody said only 2 teams want Dak. We got 2 teams in our division alone that'll take Dak. I'm talking about 2 for sure. I'm talking about last year. This time last year, we would have had 3. Like Jalen did his thing. I love Jalen. That's why I respect the hell out of Jalen. He did his thing.
Facts.
But this time last year, we had 3 teams in our division that would have took Dak from us. So what is people talking about? Where did that even come from?
They understand,
that's just
Bishop.
In our division. I ain't even going to the whole NFL, man.
Bro, they understand what drives. Here's the negative about being the biggest, most popular fan base in the world, Craig. Not the nation, in the world. In the world. Is that you mention it, it don't even gotta be about Dak. Dak is just he's the lightning rod that's gonna take. If you do regular Cowboys content, you might get 74, 75,000 views, 100,000 views. You say the word Dak, 400,000, 1 million, 2 million. It just goes even crazier. So they know the blueprint. They know how to work it. And that's what they're doing, man. And it's working for them. So kudos. But am I going to sacrifice I don't want to use the word reputation, but my intelligence? Am I going to insult y'all intelligence? Am I going to my integrity?
It's damn near a word.
No.
Like a media integrity. It's like something like that. Like,
I'm not sacrificing my integrity.
You're responsible as a reporter to make real news, bro. Like, you getting on there just saying anything that's crazy. And Shady know better. He done played with Tom Brady. Tom Brady cuts people out all goddamn day.
I'm going to tell you
for sure.
What I was telling Michelle about Shady. Here's a crazy thing, though. This is Shady. This ain't an act.
His name's Shady.
This ain't an act.
That's
and
crazy,
the problem is when he realized he can be a villain, he leaned into it. He leaned all the way into it, and he ain't coming out of that. He is a villain, and he is going to be villainous. And he knows that's going to sell. Now, one thing he did say I thought was funny to the one reporter is like, hey, man, I don't need to talk about la because I'm going to be this or that, whether I'm a running back or whether I'm on TV. I'll give him credit. He going to be shady, whether the Cowboys existed or not. He's going to be him. But he ain't stupid. His producers ain't stupid. Hey, dog, say something about Dak. Say something about the Cowboys.
Up there.
No.
He definitely, they went over this and discussed this, and multiple people approved this.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But and one more other thing I was gonna ask, what happened to our undrafted free agent, the fullback dude, man, Hunter something? Like, is he still alive or what's going on with him?
That's so funny you say that, Bishop, because we opened up the show with the practice notes, and Hunter Lipke had, according to those down there, excuse me, he had his best practice of the offseason at training camp yesterday. So this is I'm gonna read you some of what they said. They said Lipke found holes bounced off would-be tacklers and found some presence downfield. With all eyes on the running back position going into Saturday, it'll be important for him to carry that consistency to the field. And Coach Mike McCarthy also brought up Hunter Lipke, saying that he did some good things in the single back formation. So we're finally starting to hear a little bit more about him. He had his best practice yesterday.
Okay, I appreciate this guy, and one last thing, man. I want to piggyback on the last caller, man. He got an excellent point with that tight end situation. Because, like you said, we can go back to Blake, even before Blake Jarwin. Then we have Bennett and guys like that, bro. We done had so many guys walk through this tight end room before all of this.
Bennett went on to be a Pro Bowler and a Super Bowl champion.
Like, on the cool, I love Jay Witt, but Jay Witt was in the way of a lot of dogs. He was in the way of a lot of development.
Facts.
But I'll let to say, right now it's looking like we should have took our O-line. I'm not tripping. Like, it is what it is. Hindsight 2020, of course. But it looked like we should have went O-line like everybody thought we was going to do.
At this point, brother, anything but.
Edoga hurt too. Like, and he trash.
Yeah,
Edoga hurt and he trash, and that's news to us. Like, that's Bishop, like breaking news.
Edoga got hurt yesterday, right? And I almost tweeted this, but I don't want y'all canceling me because it's just a joke. But people, wow, when it came out, Edoga breaking news. Edoga goes out on the cart. I was like, damn, that's crazy. That was it. Don't have any emotion to it. But
man,
I hope he's all right.
This guy, man, for taking the call, man. I appreciate you.
Salute the Bishop, man. I just saw this super chat from Solid Duck. He said, and I want to do something similar to this on my burner account, on my Eastside Herald burner account, see what happens. Solid Duck dropped 5 and said, if you want more views, Sky, just do a show where you only say the word Dak for 2 hours. I promise you, if and I don't do that. Like, this is why I wonder if people notice when people come in here and call me homer and say, oh, you just want to talk about Dak or whatever. I'm like, ask the Bomb Squad. Do I sit here and insult y'all intelligence with Dak Prescott conversation every week? No, we don't do that. But if I want it to be like that, oh man, Dak Prescott killing it in training camp. Dak Prescott throws 3 interceptions. I promise you, if I did all that every day and it was Dak Prescott review, it'd be 10,000 people. 10,000 views by the time this thing is over. If I wanted to lean into the other side, why Dak Prescott throwing 3 interceptions mean the Cowboys are going to go 5-12? Could do all that. What they do on here in these nationals, this ain't hard, man. The hard part is, hey, talk about that third stringer that might have to play, that second stringer that might have to play. What's happening with that 5th round pick that got drafted? What's going on with Mozzie Smith, the nose tackle? Is Luke Schoonmaker going to make an impact? Jalen Moreno-Cropper, John Stevens Jr., these guys are showing up. That's the stuff that ain't going to make no clicks. That's why I appreciate all 506 of y'all that's in here right now, because y'all diehards and y'all want to hear about the real from your team. But if I wanted to be like that, Dak. Because you know what happened? All those weirdos and De Niro's, all those actors, the fake hate and the real hate, those that are out here on these YouTubes, oh, they be in here. Oh, they be loving it. But they don't come in here for that. They come in here for that. They don't come in here for the real Cowboy stuff. Go look at some of these people. And I ain't mean to get sidetracked to Cowboyzation. I apologize. But these people are strange. There will be an interview by Deuce Vaughn. You go into the comment sections. Well, Dak Prescott. Bro, how are we getting to Dak Prescott? And we're talking about Deuce Vaughn returning punts. It's wild. It's wild, man. And it's something that I didn't really understand or prepare for when I got into this space, because I was like, hey, I'm coming into this space to talk about my entire team, right? I'm not dumb. I understood Tony Romo and, Dak Prescott are lightning rods, but I didn't know our diehard fan base, that's all they want to talk about. That's boring, man. I digress. I'll leave it at that. I read some of these one super chat. Might as well read the rest before I get back on the line.
Super chat.
Hall of Fame Cowboys fan salute. He dropped 2 and said, I don't care, Sky. Brooks is taking that 5th wide receiver spot. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5th? So you got him over Tolbert, Turpin. I think he's making a roster for sure. I think he's going to be in the top 6. I guess you can figure out 4 or 5. Turpin provides something different. Tober's been better, so I don't think he's better than Tober right now. So 5th is, that's, I guess, semantics. That's nitpick. But yeah, I'm with you. I think he makes the squad.
Super chat.
Towboat dropped one. Salute to Towboat. He said, Sky, are there any veteran linemen that you know sitting at home looking for a job that we could acquire depth? Won't pay Zach because that's Micah's money, but Micah don't protect your franchise quarterback. Dalton Reisner. That's the name. Do you guys know others? I mean, I was supposed to look at the list, but I got kind of caught up doing some pre-show stuff. Dalton Reisner is the main name. Is there anybody else out there? Dennis Kelly was out there. He gone now. Trey Turner was out there. He gone now. I know one of those guards got cut from the Commanders. I believe he's still out there. But Dalton Reisner was the one, and I believe he's a center. I don't know if he can play guards. See Knicks, Jason Peters.
Super chat.
He did play some guard. Yeah. Smoke one, drop one. He said, "Oh, okay. Told y'all they were going to use lip key a lot, Sky. That's the day today. That's the day. Told y'all they were going to use lip key a lot. What do you mean by that? Let me pull out my. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by they're going to use lip key a lot? They were going to use lip key a lot. Do you mean like in the regular season? Do you mean in the training camp? Because right now, if I had to, Sky, what do you think is going to happen with Hunter Lipke? He ain't making the team. So if I had to take my guess, Hunter Lipke is on the outs looking in if they decide to go 4 halfbacks, but he'll make the practice squad. So what do you mean by that? And those are the super chats for right now. But tomorrow things can change for all of these guys. Things can change for all these guys. Before I get back to the lines, I know Smoke is in here. I just saw him tweet. Yeah, who's the Commanders guard that got released? Wasn't he like a former Pro Bowler, or he got paid a lot of money or something like that? Jeremy, appreciate you, man. He said, "Do you sell Bomb Squad merch to help support the channel?" I don't. You know, I tried the merch thing early on in my YouTube career, because if you go to like YouTube school, they tell you, hey, you want to get, have multiple streams of income, try merch. But I wasn't passionate about it. And if y'all can't tell by now, I like to be passionate in what I want to do. So I really wasn't trying to take 25% of what I was doing and put it into the merch thing. That's I'm not putting 110% of it. So that 25% I was using, I might as well put it into being better in front of the camera, being better as a producer, being better, making sure the show runs smooth. So once I get passionate about the merch, I promise you I'll do it. Or if I get somebody to help me out with it and just pay them to do it. But I'm just not passionate about the merch stuff. I feel weird about it. Like I don't want to take y'all money for it or whatnot. Like that's just because people, if you sell merch, you gotta be like, hey man, buy my merch. I don't want to do all that, man. So it's something I got to get into. But I promise you, when I do, I'll have some fire stuff. Andrew Norwell, thank you, Professor O. Is Andrew Norwell still available? Because I'll call him. So you're saying he wouldn't come out of his mouth if he knew he wouldn't use him for anything. Well, how do you, so then what does that mean? Again, what do you mean? Because he just talked about the running backs yesterday, all 4 of them glowingly, right? So unless you're saying, well, if Mike McCarthy talks about you in that way, that means you're going to make the team. So we carrying 5 running backs? Because he talked about Deuce. He talked about, obviously, TP's making it. He talked about Malik, and he talked about Rico. But just because somebody talks about you doesn't necessarily mean you're making the squad. Like, you got to go out there and you got to prove that. Again, at this moment, Hunter Lipke has not been better than those other guys, and those are people down there. I know we have kind of our biases and what we want to happen. Hell, I would love to see Hunter Lipke make this team. I was the one that thought Hunter Lipke was going to be one of the only undrafted guys to make the team. But then the helmets come on, the pads come on, practices happen, and Hunter Lipke has been fairly quiet. Hence, the insiders down there, he has not lived up to it, but yesterday was his best practice. Awesome, right? He had his best practice yesterday. Let's stack that on there. But if you remove your Hunter Lipke bias for 1 second, Do you believe Hunter Lipke deserves to be on this roster over the guys that have played better than him? Right? That's the thing. I remove my Hunter Lipke bias when I see these practices and hear about these practices that these running backs have impressed more than he has. But if he impresses tomorrow and continues to stack good days, the conversation shifts, right? The more data, it's a moving target. That's all I'm saying. Let's talk to 301. What it is, what it do.
Hello?
Yes, sir. You are live.
Oh, I am live. All right. Thank you for taking my call. Just wanted to know if the conversation about Dak is off limits right now because you'd like to cover other things.
No. I never said it's off limits. I'm just I'm not going to exhaust y'all with that conversation every day. Like the same thing. Can Dak win the Super? Like, people, that's easy. You know what I'm saying? That's easy stuff. Like, that's low hanging fruit and salt in your intelligence. No one knows, right? But if you want to talk nuances of the game, yeah, I'm all about that, man. Context.
Well, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this just for a second. First, just to be clear, I absolutely support Dak. I understand last year, he had 15 interceptions, but not everybody has the tragic things in their life conflate all at the same time. And yet, you're supposed to be the strength of the team, and even the strength of the team let the world know, I deal with some kind of mental challenges. And when he said that, half of the media world wanted to bite him for that. But he's just dealing with the reality of being a human. So my thing is that Dak got past all of that last year, but I want to remind everybody just to look at what Dak can do. And considering going into this year, remember, last year he played a playoff game against the Bucks and dismantled them and created a record of 11 throws in a row that had not been done before. So it's a little thing. It's just like a little taste of the power that's in the team now. So it's a small thing. I just wanted to remind us that the capability is there. The man has got strong mental strength. He can get past this. He's smart. And I know that nobody knows the future except God, but it looks like going into this year with the right kind of help around him, he will absolutely be able to do more efficiently this year than last year. And last year was a 12-win season. So I just wanted us to be reminded you can actually go back, look at some of the games, look at that playoff game, and how well he commanded the offense in that game and just dismantled the Bucks. So there is that. There's the facts. Not to mention these latest things that came out about Dak throwing 20 yards down the field is maybe better than most of the quarterbacks in the league right now, including Rodgers and others. So I just wanted to say that.
Yeah. We were having this conversation last year, I think, with me and Foots were kind of on this train a bit. That if we're being honest, I think the interceptions are overshadowing that he is absolutely the best passer that he's been in his life. But the interceptions were happening, and so it was kind of overshadowing it. And obviously, he's got to cut down on the self-made turnovers, the bad decisions. Right? You can't make bad decisions out there. And for the most part, a lot of his picks were bad decisions, were miscommunications, and were tipped balls. If say two of those things, and I would love for it to be the bad decisions and communication. If those things get exponentially better, you will see the interceptions go down, and no one will be talking about Dak Prescott interception guy. And again, we just are 1 year removed from 37 touchdowns, 68 completion percentage, whatever it was, 10 interceptions. 1 year. It took one season of interceptions, really, because he was throwing some damn darts out there a lot, more often than not. It took 1 year of having those interceptions for people to completely say, ignore and forget that this dude has been playing at a high level. If he's played most of the season, most of the time. But again, interceptions, finishing the playoffs, those two things, if they happen next year, they'll be back on the Dak train until he throws another pick, and then they'll come back out.
Let's just remember the kind of character that Dak is. You can look at many people in the league. You know, when you're dealing with high quality people and people that are intelligent, people that have a good feel for what they're doing, you've got to have Dak in that conversation and then consider, all right, if he's that kind of a person, imagine how that kind of a person looks back on last year and says, that is not my identity. This is the year I'm going to show you my identity. And we got a glimpse of his identity before all the mishaps that happened last year. He was consistent at being protective of the ball, but people have a short memory. So This year, all I'm saying to everybody is consider the character of the man. Consider the integrity of the man. Consider the dedication of his life to this game. And, man, I'm going to tell you, everybody knows this is the leader, and he knows he's got to lead these men with substance. He is going to have a much better year. I just know it.
Oh, yeah, I don't think you're lying at all. I mean, again, just look at his resume. It's there. The dude performs. Last year, it wasn't his best year. He'll tell you that. We obviously know that.
Yeah.
But when he is playing, majority of the season, normally he's having a fantastic season. So I'm with you.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, man. Hey, great call. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. All right, man. God bless.
My only retort there, my only pushback, when you said people just have to take into account, the character and this and that, it ain't happening. They do not care. When I say they, I mean them. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. They do not care about any of that stuff. They do not care about the human aspect of this game. This goes back to the other day when I was talking about, I think it was John who dropped a super chat, and we were talking about slants and crossers and things like that. There is so much evidence showing that he can do those things at a high level and has done them, but a lot of people don't care about that. They only care and want to come out, not saying you, John, because you aren't like that, when the bad part happens. So I think Law was talking about this the other day or the other week. He got to win the Super Bowl. That's it. He probably like the only quarterback that has to win the Super Bowl to gain that respect. Because no one, I guarantee you, if Lamar Jackson continues to have this trajectory where, he won an MVP, but he ain't been MVP since. And, he's been good. He's never gets to the championship game, never wins a Super Bowl. If Justin Herbert goes to the Pro Bowl 6 times, never gets to the championship game, never gets to the Super Bowl. Josh Allen never gets to the Super Bowl. Whomever else these other dudes they got up here in the top, whatever, right? No one will care that it happened. It'll be, man, that Justin Herbert, bro. Fantastic quarterback, man. Josh Allen, Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame. Lamar Jackson, former MVP. Best running quarterback of all time. Amazing player. Dak Prescott, trash. That's what's going to happen. So this dude got to win the Super Bowl, man. Not get there. Not even NFC Championship. You got to win the Super Bowl. And honestly, with that pressure, it either makes a diamond or bust a pipe. That's what comes with wearing this star. And whenever he's gone, the next dude's going to have that same pressure. The very next franchise guy. Not Matt Castle. Not Stephen McGee. Not Drew Bledsoe. No. The next franchise guy is going to have that same pressure because of the star. But if he played for the Bears, he'd be singing his praises. Marco from Charlotte.
Still?
What's good with you?
Chilling, brother. I'm calling about what Jerry talked about. He don't want to pay my boy. I mean, he talked about he don't want to pay Mark. That was what Jerry. Yeah, I don't understand Jerry Jones. What's wrong with that, man? He on drugs?
He being stubborn, bro. He being stubborn. Look, I get it. And I said this before. I say it again. I understand both sides, but sometimes there is an outlier. And Zach, in my opinion, happens to be an outlier because he's a guy who is, yes, he's 32 years old right now, be 33 towards the end of the season. but he's a guy that's still playing at an elite level. He is still the best guard in the National Football League. And when that is the case, sometimes you got to say, okay, there is an exception that can be made here. And if somebody got a problem with it, well, then you go out there and you be Zach Martin. And then we'll have that conversation. You know what I'm saying? But he's trying to, stand his ground and set a precedent. And, I'm hoping that there's a middle ground that can be met. But we talking about Zach Martin.
I feel like every year is a problem with this dude. He don't want to pay Z. He don't want to pay that. He don't want to pay. And now they trying to jump in front. It's going to be a problem with CeeDee. It seems like make the right decisions, bro. It's just, every year we got a problem coming into the season.
I'll say this. Keep it out of the media, though. There's no need, bro. Like, there's no need for every time you get on the radio, the first thing out your mouth is shitting on Zach Martin.
You can't be a Cowboy and play good, Phil Skywalker. You can't be a Cowboy. They don't want to pay that bread. In fact, they try to get you with that long contract and get you. They think they slick.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you what. We might be bringing Zeke back because if they don't bring Martin in, you gonna need a running back that can pick up that blitz. You're in trouble. I saw my boy Deuce yesterday. Deuce, I'm sorry, bro. You ain't picking up the way you let what's name follow run past you like that. Don't do that ever.
Deuce ain't gonna be putting no blitz pickup a whole lot this year. If I had to put a number, I say less than 10 times. I think.
Here you go, Still, I say this too. You're gonna let my boy Pollard start picking up a lot of them blitzes. He's gonna wear down like Zeke. It's just a difference, man. Zeke take that punishment. I ain't saying we want Zeke back, but I'm saying, hey, you don't want to play Martin. Give that bread. You don't want.
I'm not bringing in a running back just to pick up blitzes, bro. If you cannot be adequate at that, average at that, then you don't need to be on my roster. But right now, it sounds like Rico Dowdle is the guy that has been fantastic in blitz pickup. If you listen to Mike McCarthy, we talked about it yesterday. Rico he's filled in very well for that role as we speak. Now we got to see it in the games or whatnot. But you don't want. I would hate to have Tony Pollard back there picking up blitzes all game, but I've seen him do well and I've seen him not do well.
Yeah, I saw him. I'm not saying that he's bad, but I'm saying I'll change the subject and go back what we was talking about over the summer, bro, and just tell my Cowboys you draft Schoolmaker and this dude. We drafted second round picks for potentially like down the road. Come on, man, draft a guard. Martin don't show up. Thank you, Martin. Retire. Keep the money. We don't even want the money. I feel like, bro, we just drafted. That right there was the dumbest draft right there to me, a tight end. And this dude, he behind Hendershot and what's the name? To me, Ferguson and maybe McCune. To me, my personal opinion.
Yeah, hey, bro, Marco, I want to be the first person that comes in front of y'all with some hot sauce, all types of seasoning, and put it on crow. Throw that crow on the grill. And I swear, I go find one out here. These crows is crazy around here. I go find one, cook that thing up, and name it Luke's. I'll eat the Luke Schoolmaker crow, bro. If he comes out here and he goes crazy, I want him to. But at this moment, August 11th, no sir. Yeah, I'm still not feeling the pick, but I'm rooting for him. But I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I definitely wanted somebody else there because look what's happening. I digress.
Yes, sir. That guard would make a big difference for us right now. Even if he ain't that great, just somebody, a fat guy that can. I don't know. But still, man, like always, bro, I appreciate you for taking my opinion and letting me call in, brother. I appreciate you. Be blessed.
Indeed, you as well, bro. Salute. Have a good weekend,
my brother.
Yeah, I'll be the first one out here. I didn't necessarily bring out the A1 or nothing like that for LVE, but I definitely came on here and said, hey, look, man, I was ready to get LVE out of here. In the first, 4 to 5 games, right, when it came to the run defense, I was like, hey, I ain't feeling this. And then he started to play better. I said, hey, man, look, LVE played better. It is what it is. Good enough to give him a crazy contract? No. Good enough to where he might be coveted out there in the NFL? I didn't think so. But good enough to come back and have a role on his defense? Sure. Good enough to where I would ignore the linebacker position? Nope. I would have still went and did something there. But I admit, LVE, hey, man, you played better. How much better? Well, the league told you. The league told you he wasn't all that. But this is a case where I think same thing happened to, and again, I'm going off track, my bad. We about to be in overtime. The same case, this could be a case where J-Ron Curse, in my opinion, had a Pro Bowl year in 2021. Hit the open market. And I think what might have happened, people said Dan Quinn, Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, DeMarcus Lawrence. Good player. We'll pay you as a bottom third tier safety. Not saying he is a bottom third tier, but that's the money they probably were looking to pay him. And he said, "Nah, I'll take the $4 or $5 million from Dallas." LVE, second year in a row, by the way, went out there. I had my best year since my rookie season. Let's get this money. Dan Quinn, Micah Parsons, Dante Fowler, DeMarcus Lawrence. You ain't like that, LVE. We'll pay you though. Give you about $1 million, $2 million. LVE came back on the 2-year deal. That's paying him like $3 million. So the league is telling you how they feel about these players. And I think it's kind of a gift and a curse. You're playing under a Dan Quinn defense that is going to make you look good. But at the end of the day, there is, and this is no knock on J-Rock. I thought J-Rock, I thought he could really be one of the top safeties on the market and get the bag as well. Maybe not the biggest bag, but I was a little bit surprised, right? But the injury started to roll up on him. But LVE, the guru said, "I still regret not signing Bobby Wagner." So you're talking about 100%. But I do think, and I said this, and I'm gonna say it again, with the defensive front, you bring in Mozzie, you got Jonathan Hankins all year, right? It's gonna help LVE. I think it's gonna help LVE maintain kind of that level of play that we saw him having, like a stretch of like 5-6 week stretch where he was like, "Oh man, LVE's playing good ball." I think it'll help him do that. But when it comes to, the injuries, when it comes to kind of up and down play, that is also there on his resume. We want to make sure, I said this to somebody else, there are less valleys, more peaks, and kind of just steady play. And that could be said for a lot of these guys. Last call of the day, 937. What's goody?
Hey, what's up, Skywalker? This is Cowboy Tay from Ohio. I got a quick question for you. I just wanted to pick your brain a little bit on this because I've been thinking about it. So this is with Zach Martin ending his holdout or whatever. But since there's kind of the West Coast offense been introduced and it's a new offense going on, and we got a couple new receivers, well, mainly Brandon Cooks. And I know the previous years we normally, we didn't even play Dak at all in the preseason because usually he's coming off of an injury or he's dealing with an injury. So I get that, but with this being a new offense, and we have a huge first month of football. Like we got some big games that we cannot go down and lose to because this is a good division. Like you lose games, it's gonna count this year. So I was just wondering, like, do we play in the Oakland Raiders, Vegas Raiders game? Do we play Dak a quarter or two just to kind of get him gelled up and get him going and moving before Week 1 game against the Giants? Because
definitely
I
not
feel like we
third
cannot.
one. Yeah.
What's that?
Definitely not the third one. The third one is the last preseason game now.
Dress
it used to be the third
okay.
preseason game was dress rehearsal. I guess nowadays it would be the second one. But to answer your question in short, it sounds like no. It sounds like they're not doing that. McCarthy kind of answered this last week. He said, if I was a betting man, I'd be leaning towards no. Then he clarified, said, but I'm not betting man, so you never know. That's what he said. But don't expect to see Dak out there. But then the question is, should we? I ain't gonna lie to you,
That's
bro.
what I'm asking.
I'm torn. I'm torn. I'm just torn, bro. I'm a little scarred, right, from 2016. Remember what happened with Tony, so I'm a little bit scarred. But there's a part of me that also recency bias. Last year, I thought it was worse because last year I thought he probably should have because of the lack of weapons that we had, and he needed to get some live bullets out there with the guys he had, the Noah Browns, the Dennis freaking Houstons, who couldn't believe he was getting as many snaps as he got.
TJ Vasher.
Vasher didn't even make the team, but that group, I thought he needed to get some bullets, right? So you could say, well, Sky, last year, look what happened. I'd be like, you're right. I'll push back.
I don't get it. I mean,
I'll push back on my own.
Tom Brady.
I'll push back on my own though. the previous year. He didn't play a snap of preseason. He went out there against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and threw for 400. You know what I'm saying? And 3 touchdowns and diced them up. And he ain't the reason why he lost that damn game. They went and got the lead, and the defense gave up the lead at the end of the game. So it's I'm not going to lie to y'all. There's a part of me that absolutely wants to see a series or two, right? And then there's a part of me that says, what is that really going to do? And is it worth injuring Dak Prescott without your starting offensive line out there? Because let's push this further past Dak, bro. What about the offensive line? We putting Tyron out there? Putting Zach?
That's what I'm thinking. But you
Terrence?
think Tom Brady, he played every preseason, every year he played at least a drive or two. Just
they doing it now. Doing it now. Pat Mahomes, he's out there too.
And most of, I say, a lot of teams, a lot of big name quarterbacks that's bigger than Dak, using higher contracts than Dak, is out here playing in the preseason. And we, I just don't want to hear that. It's going to take time, and I don't want to hear that. I think we need to get in the season, get our kick and roll. I don't want to.
You have to hear it, because a series ain't going to change it. It's not going. You're not playing them a quarter. You're damn sure ain't risking them a quarter out there with a patchwork offensive line. So it's not an easy decision, bro. Let me ask you this: do you want to run Dak Prescott out there with Chuma Edoga at left tackle, Tyler Smith, who is it? Matt Forniak at center, Brock Hoffman at guard. No, Briadas rolled his ankle. He ain't playing. Who was it at guard? Well, I say Brock Hoffman at guard, and then Matt Waletzko. Do you want to put Dak Prescott behind that line against teams?
I didn't know all them was down. I'm thinking Terrence Steele and all them is out there.
They are not about to throw no Terrence Steele out there no preseason after ACL injury. You know that.
Hey, the season here, we can't run from injuries no more. We gotta go out there.
Well, it's about ramp up, right? It's about ramping up, and he's not even a full year removed from his ACL, so they want to make sure they got the best version of Terrence Steele to start that season. Like you said, important games. Right off the bat, you got a Giants game. You want to make sure you got Terrence Steele available for that Giants game. So again, okay, let's throw Terrence Steele. Okay, let's throw him out there. You ain't putting Tyron out there. I know you ain't doing that, right?
I know Tyron ain't. I ain't know Tyron ain't.
Okay.
I ain't even thinking about that.
So you got who you got over there then? Who would be Dozier or not even Dozier? We'll say Matt Waletzko. Matt Waletzko, Brock Hoffman, Matt Forniak, and Terrence Steele and Tyler Smith. You want to throw Dak out there today? I don't.
I get it, man. I get it. It's just I've been torn between the two, man. That's why I was like, let me call Scott, man, and see what he think about this question and see where he'll pull from. But
if you give me the starting lineup, I'm with it. I'm with it for about a series or two. I don't. All it's going to do is just make us feel comfy. That's all it's going to do. I don't think it's going to have any translation to the NFL season, none whatsoever. But it'll make us feel good. Maybe it'll make them feel good. Like, all right, I got the nerves out the way, even though you're about to go on Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football against a real opponent. So the nerves will come right back. But will that translate? I don't believe so. I don't.
But usually we got live practice scrimmages and stuff, but they canceled all that this year, so it was kind of different the other years.
You don't need it. Your defense is the best defense, and these boys is out there. I don't know if you're following training camp, but these boys are out there playing, bro.
Yeah, that defense. I already know they're gonna bring it at times, but that getting his work, man. But it's a different flow ball game, man. When you under the lights.
But those are preseason lights. That ain't really the light, for a veteran. For these young bucks, absolutely right. But it is tough, fam. I don't think there's an easy answer here, because if you are of the belief, it all depends on your belief. If you are of the belief that a series or two series can translate into the regular season for an 8-year veteran quarterback, then yeah, you're going to say absolutely throw him out there. I don't care who's up there to block. And then there's the other side where, all right, well, if you want him to play, does he have his guys? Is he playing with CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, Michael Gallup, the starting offensive line, Tony Pollard? The answer was probably no.
Right, I got you.
Yeah.
That'd be it, man. I just wanted to get in and get that question in real quick, man. I'll let you finish out the show.
All right, man. Good call.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, selfishly, come on, man. Selfishly, I want to see him out. I want to see him out there, throwing around. But then when I remove my selfish nature and say, does this make sense? Put him out there behind Waletzko and Ball. That's who it was. Ball. Brock Hoffman and Matt Forniak. And at this damn point, do I even need to put Tyler Smith out there? You know, but say no, man. I haven't watched the chat. Are y'all torn as well, or what are we doing here? Or are we all aboard of, hey man, play your starters? Play your starters. So what do you mean by that, Chandra? You're saying you're cool with, you're like, whatever, we got Cooper Rush. So if Dak gets hurt, I'm fine. We'll win without Cooper Rush. Yeah, I'm not going into a preseason game with that mentality. Hey, dog, we're going to play Dak because we got Coop. We're going to sacrifice the franchise quarterback, the quarterback who's 10 times better than the backup quarterback, because we got Coop. Nah. You have a better shot with Dak than not Dak. So I wouldn't go in with that mentality. You're comfortable that, hey, I'm glad we got a Cooper Rush that we know can go in there and hold down the fort or whatnot. But again, I'm not sacrificing my quarterback behind chopped liver offensive line for my comfortability. Give me the starting lineup. I think the conversation could shift a little bit. Because that's what happened in 2016. That he went out there with the starters. Dez was out there. T. New was out there. Starting line was out there. You know? But I'm not using Dak as a sacrificial lamb because of Cooper Rush. No, sir. Not me. All right. I don't know if I missed any supers. Or Knicks. We definitely know that. 100%. Somebody said it yesterday, and I ain't going to go as hard as I think it was Jay. Jay called it noodle arm or whatnot. But yeah, when he had to throw the rock, like we had to throw the rock when the quarterback came back, you saw what happened against a good defense. It was, I don't even think Dak ever had 3 interceptions last year, but he did. In that game, he had to throw the ball. So, where we at here? Marcus Rowe.
Super chat.
Marcus dropped 5, and he said, "One love, Cowboys family. We all need to tell Shady A. Smith to keep our QB1 out his mouth. Joy Taylor too cute to stay mad at, though." Yeah, Joy getting on my nerves too, but
super chat.
Jay Recruiter dropped 1. He said, "My only criticism of Dak is that he doesn't like to throw the ball away." Yeah, last year that boy was trying to just make everything happen. Just live to fight another day. Here's what I want to see, Jay Recruiter. Pull it and run. Obviously, you're gonna have throwaways sometimes, but pull it and take off, man. You got legs. Like that's part of what you are. Use your feet, man. And he said they were gonna do that, so we'll see.
Super chat.
Tobo Ty said they will bring Zeke back for O-line depth since he has experience at center. Good one. Good one. Yeah, Joy's strange, man. Joy, I mean, somebody said something. I ain't gonna repeat it on live on the show, but you notice every time Shady say something, Joy is right there with everything all the time. You know? It wasn't like that at first. I'm not insinuating anything. I'm just saying it was a point in time where she kind of was standing on her own and like if Shady said some crazy stuff, and not just the Cowboys, but anything. Now it's Shady say some crazy stuff, Joy riding shotgun with it. No question. And then she'd be looking over at Shady too, like, am I saying that right? Ma'am, just, you ain't got to do all that. Say what you feel. Say how you feel. Anyway, man, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to let Jackie and Miss Sadiqa and Chandra and all them go at her. I ain't going to go at her like that. I just, all right, I'm done. I don't want to go into this thing. Let me get back into the chat, man. Joy just as goofy as Shady. Mr. Myers said, nah, she need to shut up too. That's all I'm saying. She at one point, it felt like she was like, nah, I'm going to say what I want to. And now it's, what you say? Yeah, you're right, Shady. And yeah. John dropped
Super
5.
chat.
He said, can't wait for our first preseason game. In my opinion, this is our best crop of young talent, drafted and undrafted in a long time. Well, wait a minute. 2016 team, that was a hell of a draft, man. Hell of a draft. That could be a long time, though, John. So, yeah. And if you listen to Coach McCarthy, John, McCarthy said, yeah, from a mature standpoint, this is our best crop of free agents. 2021, pretty good, too. Mike Parsons. Yeah, you're right, though. This is a very good crop of young guys from a drafted standpoint, undrafted free agent standpoint. Sundra says, I'm just wondering if Dak can be a Nick Foles. Let me make sure I read that right before I read it out loud. Scott, I wonder if Dak can be a Nick Foles. What the? I respect Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy because they did just enough to get their teams to an NFC Championship in the Super Bowl with Brock Purdy. I mean, yeah, I respect them too, but what do you mean by that? I'm wondering if he can be Nick Foles. Question: do you know who Nick Foles is? Like, have you seen Nick Foles play in his career? Are you trying to say? I'm wondering if Dak can have a Nick Foles magical postseason run. I'm wondering if Dak can, do that 2017 year where he won a couple games, got the Super Bowl, and won off in the Super Bowl like that. Or are you saying you wonder if he can just be Nick Foles? What do you mean by that? Although I do respect what Brock Purdy and Jalen Hurts were able to do last year, 100%. But before I just want to make sure I'm understanding what you're saying here. I don't want to misunderstand this. I hope like hell he's not Nick Foles, but I do hope he has a magical run in the postseason like Nick Foles. Yeah, hope he has a magical run like Eli did in the postseason, like Joe Flacco did in the postseason, like Brad Johnson did in the postseason, like Hostetler did in the postseason, like Trent Dilfer did in the postseason, like 2015 Peyton Manning, who was in shit in the postseason, Jake Delhomme, Rex Grossman, But I hope he can be Nick Foles. Is absolutely, in the words of my guy Vosh Lombardi, madness. In the words of Skywalker Still, what are we doing? What are we doing? Hit the like button on the way out. Yeah, I just talked to myself in third person. If you enjoyed today's show, man, have fun with it. Friday edition. Make sure y'all out here in these streets this weekend having a safe and fun weekend, Cowboys Nation. Boom, there we go. I believe I got to all of the super chats. If I didn't, don't know why I'm frozen right there. Hold up. Ooh, boy. Thought my man messed up on me again. I think there were a couple that came in here. One more came in here. One more. Here go Jay Versick.
Super chat.
I want to see Dak this preseason the same way Shady saw Pollard. Happy Friday, Sky. Yeah. Shady out here lying. All right, man. Appreciate the super chats. Appreciate the calls. All of it was great. Today we basically jump into the mailbag if you missed the show. Tomorrow's the day. Oddly enough, I'll be in a whole different state watching this damn game because of travel. But so if I can get on, I'll be on Twitter. Actually, you know what? I'm probably not. I'm going to probably just chill. Wait till we get the tape on Sunday, Monday, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it. All right. No shows for A to Z Sports Prime Time. No show, Vosh and Bar Live. It's Friday. And we'll be back. Everybody will be back Monday. Mo will be back on Sunday. And if you want to keep up with A to Z Sports, just head on to the website and you can follow all of the wonderful articles that our writers are putting together out there. With that said, I'm gonna go ahead, press this button. Oh yeah, Frisco. So Vach, you gotta hit me up if it's official tissue, which we know it is. We had the conversation. For those, and we'll continue to talk about this in the next couple of weeks. Me and Vach will be live at Frisco Camp, doing shows too, by the way. Down there at Frisco Camp, we'll be at the Omni, so we'll be doing some of the shows there. We'll probably will catch us live as well with our guys, Reg and KG, on 105 through the Fan. But we're trying to put together something where you guys can actually interact with us at the Omni. It'll be up to them to let us do it. If not, it is what it is. You'll still see us there, checking out camp and then reviewing the practices. So cannot wait for that, man. I'm so excited for it. We didn't get a chance to do Oxnard and link up, but we will down there in Frisco. All right, now I'm gonna press the button. I'm curious what that means. Oh, you talking Zoltan, you talking about you talking about coward. We trying. Trust me. We trying. Shout out to everybody. Y'all have a good weekend, man. Let's hope our quarterback can be Nick Foles. Love y'all. Peace. Let's make a list of all the random backup quarterbacks that made the Super Bowl that we want Dak to be like. I vote Jake Delhomme and Jeff Hostetler. Brad Johnson. That's a good one, too.
Bomb Squad!